Have you ever felt like you're being swallowed by darkness? Darkness has a way of finding you no matter how prepared you are to fight. The darkness came to Jordan Devillo the night he moved to the small but charming one-bedroom home on Martin. The darkness started to grow in Jordan's heart 6 months ago after he split up with the love of his life. He didn't notice it at first. It just seemed like bad luck, or perhaps the side effects of a broken heart. Now 6 months after the split, things seemed to be going all right for Jordan. He finally got on his feet and bought a beautiful one-bedroom home. The home was a small, yellow house on the corner of a very desolate street. The engulfing trees seemed to devour the little house. The windows were new, but the rest of the house seemed old and worn. The house gave off a lingering smell that seemed to bother everyone who looked at the house, except Jordan. He seemed to be drawn to the smell. Almost a nostalgic feeling came over Jordan the first time he entered the home, and he knew he had to acquire the property. At first, the home was a dream. He knew it was helping him to cope with the loss of his companion. He worked, and then immediately came home. While in the home, he stopped seeing his friends and began to spend every waking moment in the house. The house was infecting him like a virus. There is a darkness in that small house, a darkness that began to eat Jordan day after day. The first night that Jordan met the darkness, it was harmless. No more than just a dream, perhaps. He was awoken at 3:06 a.m. Wide awake, he noticed a figure in the corner of the room. A shadow, maybe. Jordan was unsure, but chalked it up to imagination and fell back asleep. This continued for a week, and every night the shadow seemed to get closer. Every night at 3:06 a.m. The second week, Jordan woke up at 3:07 a.m. This time, no shadow in his bedroom, but a voice that spoke to him. A voice with no language, a voice he could not quite explain. There were two voices. One sounded like that of a child, and the other of a man. Now, Jordan was no linguist by any means, but he was confident that this was no ordinary language. It sounded like nonsense and laughs. The voices would stop after a few minutes, and then Jordan would fall back asleep. After several nights of the bizarre voices, Jordan tried to speak back. The voices instantly stopped. He tried to remember some of the phrases uttered. Hada was one of the words spoken repeatedly. After several nights, the voices stopped. Jordan slept peacefully until the third week. And Jordan was woken at 3:08 a.m. to his name. He opened his eyes to a moonlit room and was greeted by a shadow at the foot of his bed. He could make out no features. A silhouette of darkness. This was the moment that Jordan truly met darkness. He knew there was no audible noise, yet Jordan could still hear the shadow. His name was Milcom, and he was very old. Somehow the presence of this figure soothed Jordan. He felt in peace. Every night that week at 3:08 a.m., Jordan woke up and communicated with Milcom. He learned facts that seemed unfathomable. Little things, such as a car is about to drive down the road, or that Jordan will receive a phone call at a certain time that day. And all of these strange predictions seemed to come true, exactly how Milcom would predict. The fourth week came, and at this point, Jordan did not leave the house. He would wait all night in the bedroom until he would finally be visited by Milcom. This time at 3:09 a.m., Jordan started to ask questions such as where Milcom was from, and how he would get into his room. The answers were vague and strange, but somehow made sense to Jordan. Milcom said he came from another time and came because Jordan was special. Milcom said that Jordan was ready for the greatest task any man can be given. When Jordan asked, "Ready for what?" Milcom responded in only the strange voice that Jordan could understand, "Time to help with the chi." A very strange thing to say, and yet Jordan did not argue, or even question Milcom. It just seemed like the right thing to do at that moment. Jordan asked Milcom, "How do I help the children?" Milcom lifted his shadowy hand and pointed it to the far corner of the room, a door in the middle of the room. It was a small, round wooden door, and Jordan could feel the intense heat blasting off the wood. Where did this door come from, Jordan thought. It is as if Milcom heard his thought, and he responded with it was a gift from Father. Feeling a strange sense of purpose and worth, Jordan got up out of bed for the first time in 4 weeks at 3:10 a.m. Milcom, who Jordan could still not make out his features, guided Jordan through the wooden gateway. Jordan was annihilated by the darkness, surrounded by all sides by cold, dark blackness. The darkness started to fade, and he saw stars and planets galloping by his head. The cold suddenly turned into a blistering heat. He felt his very skin burning. This euphoric and otherworldly moment came to an abrupt ending when he was confronted by Milcom. The celestial background suddenly faded into a dark and hot cave. The only illumination that could be found was from burning flames surrounding all the jagged rocks. For the first time Jordan laid eyes on Milcom. Milcom was almost indescribable. His appearance was haunting, and the stuff that nightmares are made from. The creature was not human. Well, not all the way human. His face was drenched in shadow, but he could make out giant horns as sharp as spears. Milcom spoke, this time with an audible voice. It was a loud and deep rumble of a voice. He felt the ground shake when Milcom spoke his words. "You will serve here for eternity. Bring me what I desire." Jordan obeyed the task as if he did not have a choice, as if his body lost all free will. Milcom guided Jordan down a long tunnel within the cave. Paintings on the cave walls depicted figures burning in flames, while a giant bull-like creature watched. The crude cave paintings looked a lot like what he could make out from Milcom in the shadows. The two traversed down the narrow, excruciatingly hot tunnel until they reached another small door. The door opened, and Jordan stood somewhere else, a desert of some kind. There were children running around. Milcom pointed to the child, and Jordan, with the help of the darkness, retrieved the child from Milcom. A game Jordan was forced to play for the rest of eternity. You must be careful letting darkness creep into your heart. Jordan opened his soul to darkness, and darkness consumed every fiber of his being. If you let darkness knock on the door, you better be prepared for an eternity of darkness.